So, this week, a brand new Star Wars TCG was announced coming 2024. Now, obviously, this channel was founded on a Star Wars card game, Star Wars Destiny, so reasonably, there's been a ton of discussion around that this week, what it means for me personally, and what it means for the channel, and ultimately for you as the viewer. Will I pick up the new Star Wars game? The answer is maybe. I'm never closing any doors, but honestly, I'm not super excited about it right now. But what does this all mean for the channel? In short, nothing's changing for now, and there are no plans to change anything in the future. That said, this is a good time to sit down and have a state of the channel update, if you will, in general, give some personal updates, and look forward to what's to come. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Commandos. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Friday morning to all of you. For my Destiny folks, yes, this is taking place of our normal Destiny Friday Commando cast, and I thought that that was appropriate given kind of the situation of Star Wars and all that, and a lot of the discussion has been coming from that side. So the goal of this cast, which it's probably gonna be long, so kind of sorry, not sorry, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I kind of have some notes down. Basically, what I want to go through is really, like I said, kind of a state of the channel update, some good things, some not really changes, but some things to look to in the future. We'll talk about Flesh and Blood real quick, and then obviously we're going to talk about the new Star Wars game, Star Wars Unlimited, which I think is the worst card game name ever because of how TCGs release their product. Calling your game Unlimited is right. You usually have a limited edition and unlimited edition. It's kind of, I get it. It's unlimited power, unlimited possibilities. It's creative, but it shows. Again, we'll get into that, but FFG has a track record of showing they don't understand how TCG products work, and I think calling their game Unlimited kind of feeds into that. That said, that company makes great games and bad products, so we will see. All right, so first let's start off with channel stuff. So some small stuff that's happened, well, actually big stuff that's happened. I didn't really have time to do anything about it because everything's been so busy with just between my life and, between funeral, so it was work and then funerals and then just normal stuff and the busyness of Fab running those events. We weren't able to really stop and celebrate the fact that within 2 weeks of each other, we crossed 1 million views and 5K subs. Both of those were big milestones, and the reason it was funny is because we kind of had an internal bet to see there was kind of a race to see which one of them we would hit first, and we ended up blowing away the views a lot earlier than I thought we would, but either way, that's all thanks to the folks watching this, right? I am very aware that a video like this is not going to get very many views, but the people who are watching this are the people who rock, right? You're the people who make this channel happen, and the reason I'm still here doing this after as long as we have been, right? Which is pretty impressive. So thank you for that and making that happen. And here's to 10K, baby, because that's really the next milestone, right? Which we can absolutely make happen because Flesh and Blood is really growing, and that's really let's be honest, it's a large part of it. Destiny's not pulling in a lot of subscribers, right? Destiny's doing its thing, it's fine, and I will continue to support it, and I continue to love that community, but I'm not getting subs from it, right? So it's not a negative. I'm just being realistic, right? So kind of to that end, you folks may have noticed that on Fridays, right, we continue to do the Commando cast on Fridays, but there's a video that I always try to chase that with a Flesh and Blood video by 15 minutes. And there's a very specific reason that happens that way, because whenever I drop a Destiny video, I almost instantly lose 5 to 6 subscribers, like clockwork. Right. And what I found is that by chasing that video, so that what's on the top of those, right? I mean, those are not the loyal subscribers, so it's not something that breaks my heart, right? Someone who's going to unsubscribe to the channel because I post a Destiny video, which is the fundamental of the channel, not breaking my heart that person decided to unsubscribe, right? But it helps the algorithms, it helps visibility, it helps get everything out there. So, like I said, I've found that by chasing that and getting a Flesh and Blood video at the top of the feed, it has significantly helped kind of reduce the impact of when I drop a Destiny video and the drop fallout of that. So that's just me trying to play the algorithms. It's not me trying to eat into Destiny Friday or imply that I care about Star Wars Destiny any less. That's not the case. I'm just being practical about the matter and trying to play the game. And again, it works out better for everyone because the higher the algorithms go, the higher everything gets in front of Destiny. And yes, we've even had people comment. We've had Flesh and Blood people come back like, I didn't realize this game was still alive. It is a thing, right? So it's good for all of us. Right. So from a Flesh and Blood standpoint, well, let's talk about the new game, right, and what that means and how that fits into Flesh and Blood, right? I've even had some people ask, are you going to drop Flesh and Blood? Not drop Flesh and Blood, right? But it's very obvious. If I were to pick up, like, let's say I do pick up a new game. Let's say I do pick up this new Star Wars game. It would obviously eat into my Flesh and Blood time, mental space, everything, right? It has to by definition. Because I spent a lot of time on Flesh and Blood stuff between work and family and Flesh and Blood, and then some other side projects I'm working on, which I'll talk about in a minute, and how that'll impact the channel. I spent a lot of time on Flesh and Blood, so if I were to spend time on something else, it would naturally have to eat into that, right? It would. And that's just the fact of the matter. So I don't, for my Destiny, and I realize this is all over the place, and strap in, folks, because we're going to be, cheers, whatever. So realistically, when I look at my life and where I'm at currently, I don't feel that I have mental capacity to deal with another game, right? I am very into I'm into Destiny. I'm very, 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 very into Flesh and Blood. Star Wars Legion, I've actually stopped making videos and stuff on because I have found I am still playing Star Wars Legion. I'm still very into Star Wars Legion, but I found that my joy does not come from making videos on that. And quite frankly, I just enjoy painting them. I've only played one game in the last, I think, 2 months, but I've painted like 5 or 6 models. And it brings me joy and it brings me happiness, right? So I will continue to support that, continue to support Destiny, continue to support Flesh and Blood. I don't think I have mental capacity with where I'm at in my life to pick up another game. And if I were to do that, I'd have to drop something, and I don't want to drop anything that I have, right? So that is kind of my summary overall on why I'm not looking strongly at Star Wars Unlimited. Now, let's go ahead. I know I'm, again, skipping around, but Star Wars Unlimited is going to be a success. There's zero question that it would be a success because it's a Star Wars game. And there are, 90% of the people that go buy it opening day will be buying it and have nothing to do with the game itself. And when I look at will I play, there is almost a 99.999% chance that I will play and try out the game. Why would I not, right? But I'm not going to go all in on a game just because it's Star Wars, right? I did not play the Star Wars LCG because I did not like the game mechanics. I got into Star Wars Destiny because I looked at it and I was like, this is a game I can play with my friends and I can teach people who don't know how to play card games. And I love Destiny. Destiny was fantastic, great game. So to that point on the new Star Wars game, I have to see what it plays like. I am not going to go into that game just because it's Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I'm not saying I don't, right? It's no secret there, right? Look at the swag. But would I play Legion if it wasn't Star Wars? Probably I wouldn't, to be honest with you. But I'm not going to, spend thousands and thousands of dollars plus X over the next potential X years, assuming FFG can keep it alive, just because it's Star Wars. So that kind of sums up my take on it. Now, the game itself, right? There are obviously a whole bunch of negative feelings around Fantasy Flight Games and how they handled it. And it's been really funny over the last, there was a huge thread on the Destiny Facebook page about it, as you would expect. And the copium, right, the amount of people coming out and be like, well, they said they've learned their lesson and it'll be fine. And other people are like, dude, every game they've ever done has failed. They've abandoned it after a couple years, right? I even saw Az from not the Go Again Gaming, but Az from Star Wars Destiny, not Flesh and Blood Az, different Az. Um, he was like, well, but every game dies eventually. And like, well, I don't think that has to be true. And we can also debate the timeline on which that has to happen. But I mean, he's not wrong, right? Every game has peaks and valleys. So he's not wrong there. But Fantasy Flight's games seem to get put aside for the next hot thing. And, I'll go ahead and pull up that there was a really good article. It was on Polygon about it. And they basically owned, I'll put it up right now, Fantasy Flight's reputation as a publisher of card games is a bit rocky. It goes through all the cancellations that they've had. Probably the worst of Netrunner, we understand what happened there. There was a licensing issue. L5R is probably the most embarrassing of all of them, honestly, because that was basically printing cash money to people that were going to buy everything they made. And again, with the LCG model, you don't have to hit regular releases. So anyway, like Destiny, we all understand what happened there. Keyforge, we know what happened there, which was that they essentially, during cuts, they fired the person that was in charge of maintaining the algorithm. He had some sort of suicide code in there to where it didn't get updated or whatever, which, a lot of people do, right? If you don't log in for so long, it'll go and start deleting files and stuff. That's not uncommon in the world, right? And that's what we suspect largely, wink, wink, happened there. But they took it head on and they said, hey, look, we know that we've screwed up in the past, so we have a new plan, which is great. I mean, but I question, again, I don't want to be, I'm not trying to say that this game will be successful. It will make them a ton of money until it's making them less money, and then they might kill it, right? That's the thing, because that's what happens with all their games. But because I think it's, they've been doing this for 20 years, right? And it's the LCG model where they don't have to hit a release. And, they kind of say that below. I have that highlighted. It's the way the industry works now. If you want to do a TCG, you have to be able to be committed to hit those releases. Well, I mean, that's not a new thing. Like, that was a thing before they published Destiny, and they couldn't get anywhere close to Destiny. And then again, they blamed the dice. And that's the main thing I've been hearing on the boards as well. It was just a dice problem. Since this is just cards, it'll be fine. And the LCG people were like, they missed dates on the LCGs too, right? So again, this is not intended to be an FFG poop fest, right? What ultimately matters on this game, because I'm being honest, right? I said I'd never buy I never did say I would never buy FFG products again. I said I didn't like FFG, and I still don't. And I bought this even, and by that I mean Legion, right? I bought Legion even when FFG was the owner of Legion, and now it's AMG, but it's still Asmodee, right? So there's no reason to just lock yourself out. And I'm not saying I'm never going to play the game because of FFG. Not what I'm saying. I am saying that I am probably more hesitant than I was before. And I think if you're not, you probably need to reevaluate your fanboyness, right? Like, it's okay to like Star Wars and not play the card game. And it's okay to like Star Wars and card games and not play the card game. And it doesn't mean that you're not, but you got to do what you want to do, right? And that's why I say it'll be fine. There'll be people, and I would wager within 6 months, they'll be calling themselves the greatest community out there, like every other card game does. And, we'll see. But, to you, again, like I said, strap in, kids, right? But to you folks, the impact will be that if I pick up the game, something will have to give, right? What I will likely do if I pick up the game, I will likely move it to, there'll be I'll pick one day a week where that would be the cast. But I really just don't see myself doing that because it means something else has to change. And right now, again, there's a difference between me playing it as a personal and then me covering it on the channel, to be completely fair, right? But it's very hard for me to decouple the two at this point in the whole shebang, right? And I just don't, I'm just being honest with you folks, I don't see where the time's coming from. But what I would do is, like, let's say it might be, Unlimited Tuesdays, which actually is a pretty sexy title, actually, right? But it might be Unlimited Tuesdays or something like that, right? Because I really enjoy the Destiny Fridays. I think it serves a good spot. We don't do the gameplay videos as much because the tournaments just don't fire as much, and I'm not as good anymore. And most of the interactions happen, within the ARH side, so it's all handled. But I like to continue to support Destiny with the 50 so clicks we get, and do Smash and all that, and we'll support it as long as we can. But there's, to the Flesh and Blood folks, there's zero intent to decrease Flesh and Blood, right? Talking about Flesh and Blood, I really enjoy. I have a really good group of friends, and yes, friends that I play with here on Saturday nights, and not just Saturday nights, and hang out with, and go get beer with, and it's the same thing we had in Star Wars Destiny. We had built a play group, and that was what was fun about Destiny, and that's what's fun about Flesh and Blood to me. And I'm not just going to step away from that or put less effort into that because something new, sexy comes around, right? Even if it is Star Wars. All right, so yeah, we got that. Now, and I kind of already gave my takes on the game. I mean, I hopefully I don't sound too negative on Star Wars Unlimited. I don't. I think it's cool. We've heard that they are going to do special treatments, which is pretty amazing, right? That's where they really screwed up on Star Wars Destiny, I think, was not doing kind of the Flesh and Blood uber rare model. Right? I mean, that's what really helped Flesh and Blood earlier was, well, you got to buy 19 cases to get this. I mean, it wasn't 19, but you got to buy so many cases to get this uber rare. And you can't tell me if there's a super shiny Darth Vader that people aren't going to pay through the nose for that. Of course they are. They're going to buy 10 cases of stuff, and they're going to go out and get it just because it's Star Wars and it's a shiny Darth Vader. And of course they are, right? So I'm really glad to hear that. I will be shocked. I'll be shocked when they start, they will hit their first several release dates because that's already moving, right? By the time they get that out, it's already moving, it's already scheduled. What I question is whether they'll be able to release dates after that. And if what'll actually, in true FFG fashion, what'll probably end up happening is like the first couple they'll make, the next two they'll probably make or ish, but it won't have fully been vetted. And then you'll have like a bunch of errata like a month later. And then after that, kind of things will start to, they've proven that that's their case. So, but we'll see. Maybe things will be different. I hope they'll be different. I honestly do, because I don't want a bunch of my friends, a bunch of people I care about to go out and pick up this game and then get screwed 5 years later, 3 years later, whatever it may be, right? That's not cool, right? I hope the game succeeds. I honestly do. Like, I hope it's a good game. I hope it's a fun game, and I hope it succeeds. And I hope people make a ton of money on it too, right? Because that's part of the TCG thing. All right, 2 things left. Let's go ahead and hit on first. What do I think this means for Star Wars Destiny? I'm going to be blunt with you guys. It's not good, right? Am I sitting here and saying Destiny's going to die? No, Destiny's not going to die. We have a very strong core group of folks that have stuck with it at this point. We'll continue to stick with it. But no one can sit here and honestly look at the screen and shout back at me that I'm wrong, that this isn't going to put additional pressure on Destiny, right? I mean, if you are, we've been trying to grow, I mean, realistically think about it, right? We've been trying to grow some of us, right? Casey, Liquid Snake, right? The folks in the UK, right? The folks up in New York, right? They're actively trying to recruit and grow. Folks in Chicago, right? I'm still missing out people I know, right? But we're trying to recruit and build people. Like, it's going to be very hard. Let's just be honest with ourselves, right? It's going to be very hard to recruit a new person into Star Wars Destiny versus the new Star Wars game. I mean, that's just realistic, right? And you're going to see a large number of Star Wars Destiny people at least try it, pick up some stuff, and then start putting their Star Wars Destiny effort in. Again, you can't do everything, right? You have family, you have kids, you have a job, you have gaming time, and that gaming time has to be split somehow, right? So, again, I don't think Destiny's going to die. We're going to continue to support it. We're going to continue to do what it is, but it absolutely 100% puts additional pressure on Destiny. But the reality is we knew this was coming. We knew this was going to come at some point, so it shouldn't come as a surprise to us. And honestly, we have a year to kind of get in the right headspace And, maybe maybe if it's right, we put bows on things. And, from a Destiny Smash perspective, I haven't talked to Dean about this. And Dean, I'm sorry if it's the first time you're hearing this. I'm just thinking out loud, right? But like, how much effort are we really going to put into new Smash stuff in a year from now, let alone with a new Star Wars game coming out and even less people caring because they don't have to find ways to reuse their old cards because they can go buy new ones. And I realize it's a different game, but you understand the line of thought here, right? I think it's logical and I think it's fair, and I think most people would agree. At least with, maybe you don't agree or you don't have to like it, but you have to acknowledge that there will be additional pressure on Star Wars Destiny, right? So that's just how I see the reality of the situation. All right. I don't really have too much more to say on that. It's something I don't really want to think about all in all, but I think it's not fair not to talk about it because that's the point of why we're here, right? Is to talk about the future of the channel and kind of my thoughts. Kind of the last thing before I kind of go into kind of some other random stuff is I am able now to announce that I currently live in Portland, Oregon. I'm not leaving Portland, Oregon, but I have been accepted to teach at university in the fall. So I will be using my sabbatical from my job. I'm not quitting my job. I'll be using my sabbatical from my job in addition to some vacation time and then some remote work for the gap. And I will be teaching at university. So it's a course I've developed that I'll be teaching there. I'm very, very, very excited about this opportunity in my life, something I've always wanted to do. As many of you know, I do teach a course. I teach not only at work, some training classes, but I also teach a course at high school level. I volunteer to teach a course there, Intro to Engineering. And I will be teaching engineering students at university, which is something I've always wanted to do. And this is a huge opportunity for me, but it does require me to not live in Portland for a short period of time while I'm doing that. So we already have coverage for the Portland Flesh and Blood folks. We already have coverage arranged for Ganga Games. That's not a problem. You have very reliable people who will be running. I will continue to run the program, but they'll be executing the program. So no worries there. I will remain engaged in Flesh and Blood, obviously, but I won't be in Portland. And that will impact, for certain, the Flesh and Blood gameplay on the channel. There's zero question. I've already looked into stores where I'm going to be. The scene is not as strong as it is in Portland, which is no surprise because Portland has been phenomenal. So I will continue to engage. The online play is a thing. Webcam play is a thing. Again, I have my friend network. I will be continuing to play games down there, but the chance of me recording games down there is next to zero. I will continue to support not this type of stuff, because who's watching at this point? Give me a like below if you're still watching at this point, or not a like below. Give me a comment below. Let's say Mall down below if you're still, or actually let me know what you're thinking about other stuff at this point. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because you will see at some point in the next couple months this backdrop changes to, I don't know what it'll look like. Might just be a room with like my wife sitting on the couch behind. I don't know. But we will continue to support what we support, but the gameplay for Flesh and Blood will be lower. There should be no impact to Destiny stuff because I can still play all that online and remotely and all that. But that's a very exciting opportunity for me, and I'm very excited about it. But there will be obvious impacts to the channel in terms of sheer volume of content, but I don't see how it would affect. I don't anticipate it affecting quality of content, but there will absolutely be a volume impact there for a short period until I get back here and can relieve the people who will be, watching and maintaining the properties and all of that good stuff. So that's, I guess, the big announcement. That's not the big announcement. The big announcement's obviously Star Wars Unlimited, and again, that's such a bad name. The Unlimited, Star Wars Unlimited Limited Edition Star Wars Unlimited, First Edition Star Wars Unlimited, Unlimited Edition Star Wars Unlimited, right? You see where I'm going, right? Come on, it's kind of funny, right? You gotta at least laugh about that. So I think that's pretty much it with the updates. Oh, I did want to talk a bit about Legion, right? I kind of already gave my spiel that I stopped making content, and it's not because there was two reasons. One, I used to wake up on Sunday. My wife used to take my son to gymnastics on Sunday morning, and I had an hour and a half block in the morning where I had my own time. And I used to shoot my Legion videos, and then while they were spooling, I'd go for a run, come back and upload them. And it was great. Things changed. They're not doing that anymore. So that happened. It doesn't mean I couldn't find other time to do it, but it just became a thing of like, for the 150 views and 0 comments I was getting, it was really just me talking to myself, which was fine and fun. Like, again, I enjoy doing the content. Now, ironically, my biggest viewed video of 2022 was actually my intro to Legion video. So I've been playing around. I've actually committed to already redoing those. I've got about half of them done, but I'm just behind. And again, it's not a priority because I care about Destiny and Flesh and Blood more, and my enjoyment of Legion is painting. So that's where I'm at with that. I still play Legion very, very, very much. I just paint it, and I don't really talk about it, and it's just kind of my thing. And sometimes when you get too into the talking about stuff, you lose track, right? You just don't have time to have fun. And painting the minis is my time to shut my brain off and not, it's my time. So that's where we're at with that. So if you're a Legion folk, I'm not ignoring you. I'm not playing the game. I'm not enjoying the game, I should say. It's just that's where we're at. So anyway, folks, I think that'll do it. I've been on here for 27 minutes, 27:30. So by the time we'll be adding, maybe 29 minutes, and I think that's enough. But I do appreciate those who stuck around. I'm sure this is not a very highly watched video, but this needed to be said. We needed to talk about Star Wars Unlimited. I know I bounced around and stuff, but that's what we do when we're, talking about thoughts and emotions and kind of processing everything as it comes in. And anyway, thanks folks if you made it, there's like the 2 of you who made it, I really appreciate it. And thank you for continuing to support the channel and everything. And have a happy Friday. Have a happy weekend. Go Star Wars, go Flesh and Blood, go Legion. If nothing else, folks, go Commando.